Hey, YouTuber Woobers. It's what is it, Wednesday night? Almost to the next day. And bit brisk. It's been close to zero around here lately. And yeah, so needless to say, I have a few layers of clothing on. uh, but I was thinking about my daughter had a business meeting at a extremely local pub, and you can't get any lower local than Bob's down the road and down the hill. But they don't prepare any of their own foods for the most part. Everything is bought from a wholesale supplier, and all they do is either cook it from the frozen state, or they heat it up and they their soups are all prepackaged. It's just like if you went to the store and walked down the prepared food aisle, except chances are most of that food's been prepared in the grocery store. But um, after the shutdowns that we had the year before last, and a lot of restaurants, they had to dig deep. They kind of stopped making things themselves, and people just got used to it. Everyone is so desperate to go out to a restaurant now. They really will settle for what they have. One of something that I like is onion rings, but I like the handmade ones, the ones where they cut the onion rings up and then they do a quick batter, and deep fry them, and there's very little batter on them or very little crust on them. The prepackaged ones, they're more like a donut with a onion piece of onion inside. That's got to be machine made, and it's just. But my daughter went down for a business meeting to Bob's, and she's going through the menu. She actually put some thought to it. She looked over the menu and realized that just about everything on the menu is high in salt. These these companies are preparing their food, and then they heavily salt them so that when they're traveling by truck or train or boat or Pony Express, that the salt will preserve it if the temperature goes above frozen and starts to thaw. I mean, you can't have things thaw if they're going to go bad if they thaw. So, that's the way of the world, is preserving food with sodium and other nasty things that are just plain unhealthy. When people that who we're talking about, and you have them in your country or so forth, and they'll say you got to wear a mask and you've got a social distance and you got to wash your hands, but they never say eat healthy. They never say stop eating so much salt, stop eating so much fat, stop eating so much, uh, uh, you know, additives into the food, because that would kill that fast food industry. Because all the fast food restaurants, at least in this area or possibly this country, is just um, filled with crap, so that they could serve it fast and cheap. And if people were told to stop eating that way, those places going out of business. When all the restaurants were shut down in our area, the fast food restaurants stayed open. It's a comical, sad thing when you tend to think about it. I just saw a Consumer Reports thing about Kentucky Fried Chicken has a new unchicken chicken McNugget that doesn't have chicken in it. It's made from probably food based, plant based, but it still has all the crap in it to make it taste like Kentucky Fried Chicken because you know, you just can't fake that formula that they use that they put on it. But it's obviously filled with salt and other things that you should really be filling your body up with. And I think I used to pull into a Kentucky Fried Chicken and get a bucket. It lasts me for a couple of days, maybe. It's really kind of freaky. Or you pull in a McDonald's and they have, you know, two, two, two twos. You get two French fries, and two Big Macs, and a large soda, and there's like nothing healthy there at all. But everything is pre-processed. There's a restaurant it's kind of an uppity scale restaurant up the road, and they have pre-processed foods also that are you could just tell by looking at the menu. I mean, they have some salads. They'd have to make the salads. The chicken. Finally, I found chicken wings that actually were really good, and I could get them plain with no salt on them, and they actually were really good. And then we went back another time, and they said they were all out of them, but you could get the ones with flavoring on them. And it's like, well, just don't put the flavoring on them. And they, oh, we can't do that. They're already come that way. It's like, now you know that what they do is they buy them pre-processed, and all they do is cook them, throw one in the oven, and cook them up, and Bob's your uncle. And it's really kind of sad. I mean, they'll have a thing on. Oh, like we got onion rings on special this week. I'm going. Well, those are the donut ones. Those aren't real ones. Is like a prime rib. When I used to get prime rib years ago, it would have some crunch on the edges, and there was different colors as it because it was actually cooked in an oven or such. And now I don't know. I think they cook it in a pan of water, so it's kind of like steamed. Whether they actually cook the whole thing themselves or they get them pre-cooked and then they throw them in the oven for the final piece. But there's no rare or a little bit of pink. The whole thing is all cooked through the whole thing. It's just kind of where the world has gone, and I can understand it because these places, all really people want is the community of going out to eat with their friends, and they don't really care whether the food is homemade or not. Whether it'll say homemade on the menu, but doesn't mean that it is. And if they can't prepare something without salt, you know that they didn't make it themselves. Like they had potato skins. They have mashed potato, and then they have potato skins. Now, potato skins basically were, uh, they cook the potato and then scoop out the inners and leave the rest, and then they would uh, deep fry it. But these were actually frozen because you could taste the difference between a fresh potato and a frozen potato. At least I know I can. It's a very distinctive taste, and it's sad because the and that's what they consider. So then you wonder if they even make their own mashed potato. They probably get it in a bag, and then they warm it up. They throw it in a pot of water and warm it up. And so anyway, my daughter was down and she called me up. She said I was going over the mountain. You worry, well, there isn't really anything on there that isn't heavily salted, and it's really too bad. I don't really go out. I haven't been out. Actually, I haven't really been out to eat since Father's Day to get fried clams, and they would prepare it without the salt, which is kind of nice. But then it's fried. I don't eat a lot of fried food. It doesn't really go well with me, but it is what it is. I'm really very content staying home, preparing my own foods, than it is for me to go out. It's just a little challenging because it gets boring, but it's kind of the way of the world until such time that we shift, you know, we shift away from the prepared food. And I don't really know how that'll happen, if it will happen, because so many restaurants went out of business, you know. But we have a restaurant called Mazzio's, and they prepare a lot of it's Italian restaurant. They have a lot of stuff they make themselves. They their own pastas and cheeses and stuff. But you pay for it, so you're gonna go there. You're gonna spend at least $50 each person there. Um, and it's a little hard to get a reservation there because people go there because the food's good. But it's really just kind of sad about where things are at. Um, but I just thought I'd share that. If you want to be healthier, you've got to take some vitamins and minerals and like vitamin D and vitamin C and vitamin E. And if you live somewhere where you get a lot of sun, then you probably don't need the vitamin D. But up here where I live, even year round during the summer, you really don't get that much sun unless you're out in the fields, you know. But otherwise, I've been on a vitamin D supplement for ever since I've been in the Berkshire because my vitamin D has been low. You want to check your vitamin D with a blood test to make sure you're not exceeding what you're supposed to be at. And of course, I have a risk of osteoporosis, which is another reason why I'm on vitamin D. But yeah, I just thought I'd share it. If you have any comments, you leave them below at some point, and I'm going to leave you. Um, I probably won't do another fairy speak video until I get another wheelchair. The wheelchair is sturdy, and I can have that down there in that room. But I'm gonna do some videos I'm gonna download pictures from Pixels and create some little videos just so that I keep my skills up. And but until I can have a sturdy seat in that room. So the two rollators that I had, they both had the same broken weld. So I wasn't going to take a chance um, doing a fairy speak or anything on the video in the video room. on that chair because so at some point I'm going to order another wheelchair, and that'll be my travel wheelchair. If I go out to a doctor's appointment or something, I'll be able to have that one accessible, and I can shoot video in there. But I'm all set up in that room, so I don't want to move it out here. I could do that. I could bring the setup back up here, but I'm really happy with that setup now. So um, wish everyone's having a great day out there. It's cold and murky here, but that's what this time of the year is all about. Dreaming for a new future. Ta-ta. Enjoy. End stream.